Yes, yes, you're listening to the impeccable, impenetrable sounds of the one and only Tehran Von Gosri alongside
Mr. GK, the ambassador of positive energy and refinement. Please, don't forget to miss her.
and of course with
The diplomatic British chick, Miss Stephanie Siaderton.
ooh, and we are
Imperfect Gentlemen.
So this week's topic, okay, we're gonna talk about censorship and political correctness, something that obviously we don't have on this show. All right. Okay, so with political correctness and the concept of censorship, clearly we have a First Amendment right, which is basically the right to free speech. Something that's in this country, and but there are times where you can't say fire in a movie theater. You get arrested. It's illegal. You can't say things that are treasonous, things of that nature. Where do our First Amendment rights, censorship, political correctness, like, how do you feel about them? Like, I know when we were kids, right, we would use the word faggot all the time. Like, it was something people would say, it was okay. Now, it's been, like, a thing. Like, you can't say faggot.
You hear a lot of the big rap stars now who would never use a word who have used it on multiple albums.
They won't use it.
Yeah.
Eminem is a big example of how that happened. Like,
even JC used to use it.
And it's funny because gay people come out with a list of things that you can't say, like, every week. You know what I'm saying? I wish black people were as effective as gay people, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you start calling gay people nigger, maybe they wouldn't be allowed to say it no more because...
The thing is, it's about the history of it.
They're so good at that. Gay people are so good at that. My family's black. Like, my family's
It's not a
nigga
competition of who's the blackest.
Is he competing with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm winning.
My grandma, my mum was born in Malawi.
Exactly. Like, that's the nicest of all. It's not like she was... You know there's a country called Niger?
You know,
and it's really just spelled nigger with one less G?
Niger.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. If you were like, yo, my family's from nigger, I'd be like, damn.
Malawi is one of the, like, I think it's the fourth poorest country in the world or something like that.
Yeah, because no one even knows where it is to send you people money.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting uncomfortable sitting next to
I know, it's not a race talk anyway.
Yo,
but
all
I
I'm
do
saying is the guys of political correctness, especially as a comedian, I hate it. I dislike it. Because you're saying that I can't talk about stuff because it offends you. Anything. At this point, I can't even pee without it offending someone like, oh my God, peeing is inhumane.
Now, the right to free speech is critical to any free society, as we know. So I'm all for it. Now, there is such thing as it being used for the common good. Now, when your First Amendment is being used for the common good, freedom of expression, speaking up when it counts, when it matters,
but
I'm 100%
who determines that common good?
The common good, it's very difficult to identify, and that's where the problem lies, because sometimes it's a smaller group of people determining that for the majority, and they can get it misconstrued. So it's kind of like a slippery slope, but you can, within reason, stick to common morality and common law, and try and stick within that. For example, hate crimes being illegal. So if a hate crime is illegal,
hate is illegal.
So hate speech should also be.
But it shouldn't be
used.
Because hate
shouldn't
speech
be encouraged.
Hate speech
is
a fundamental right of the American because we don't get to determine hate speech. And now when you're talking slippery slope, this is where it gets. It gets because your version of hate speech, right? That's a different opinion of someone else. So when you say no hate speech, then now we find a place where people are limiting hate speech and they're limiting love speech too.
Yeah, but you're teaching the children of tomorrow literally to carry on these horrible
You don't have to use hate speech, but you should have the right and ability to do it. I don't agree with everything that everyone says, but I do agree with their right to be able to say it.
So you don't think there should be any regulation on
I do
speech?
think-
For
I
example,
think
in
it's
the
different for you because you're a comedian.
But here's where it is, Saran. So
I'm saying that for a society.
So censorship kind of changes depending on the infrastructure you're in. For example, you can't get away, although it's your freedom and your right to use hate speech, you can't get away with using it in a corporation without losing your job.
100%.
Or in a school without getting expelled or suspended or
There's
disciplined.
consequences.
There are
Sure.
consequences. Now, here's kind of like, just to open up the conversation more, what the internet does, what social media does, is it opens up a different sphere, a different realm where it's not necessarily regulated. Now, people could tag your comment, and eventually one of the social media sites can take it down, but you do have an ability to do it without facing punishment or consequences.
You do face
outside
punishment,
of
especially
being
if you're in a
removed
celebrity
or
sphere,
blocked.
because people are people are like blasting like something someone says, even if it's a joke. Trevor Noah got blasted for making a couple comments, which weren't even that bad.
Yeah.
And he's a comedian, and people are like, oh my God, he's this, and he's...
I do think that's crazy, and people take things out of context.
Exactly.
Which is
So
crazy.
why... So who gets to determine you're sensible and then the other person's not? That's why it's a slippery slope. You can't make that judgment. And because not one finite judge exists, besides if you believe in God or whatever higher being you believe in, well then if that person isn't there to decide, then everyone gets to evaluate their own, and people get offended by everything. Like in this day and age, it's like everybody's a pussy. Okay? Everybody. Right now, someone's going to be like, why'd you say that? That's sexist.
Do you think it should be different for show business then? Because for years and years, people have like made fun, and there's been jokes and stuff about, I don't know, back in the day of like minstrels and going right back to then, like theatre. It's always been around in show business. So do you think maybe we should just have like an extra little freedom?
Society has its own way of managing that. And we saw this instance with Donald Sterling and the comments he made.
And I don't think the comments he made were that bad. I don't think he should have lost his team because of what he said. I don't agree with what he said.
He wasn't using as aggressive,
he didn't say
explicit hate speech as we're used to defining it.
I don't want my girl.
But he did make racial
don't bring
statements.
Blacks to the game. I don't want my girl showing up with niggas to the game either. Like, let's be real. Like, yo, here's the thing. I'm gonna ask you: if you had a girl, right? You had a girl, and you walk in the house, right? And there are 4 white guys, 4 Asian guys, or 4 black guys in that house. In order, which one are you the more mad about? 4 Asians? Yo, I might even high five my girl. Someone's fixing the computer.
I'm not mad at
4 white guys? I'm not worried about it. 4 niggas in the house? Somebody's having sex. Somebody is having sex in my house.
Is that a form of hate speech?
Yo, but it's a real formulation. Now, here's my thing. I don't agree with what Donald Sterling said.
Let's clear it up to everybody.
Sure it was. Look, I'm not agreeing with what Donald Sterling said at all. Right? At all. Clearly I'm not. Look at me. I'm black. But what I'm saying is, he shouldn't have lost his team because of it.
Now here's the thing,
and that's my problem.
Do you have an added...
He said it in the privacy of his own home.
When you're prominent in society, when you have control over people's jobs, when you're in the public eye and you're an influencer, do you have an added responsibility to use your First Amendment?
I would love to say yes. I would love to say yes, but there's a Charles Barkley where I'm not a role model. Like, you are using freedom of speech by pushing the limits for the common good. Louis C.K. just had a clip on SNL where he talks about pedophiles and things like that. Chris Rock had one where he talked about Boston bombing. People were in an uproar, but those things are the ones that are pushing the minds. When Louis C.K. has that bit, and I brought it up before, where he uses the word nigger, no one is offended because it comes from a good place.
But these are under the, you like the word guys, I like that too, the guise of comedy. But when it's not a comedian saying it, it's someone in society who's a politician.
Stopping free speech doesn't stop that thought, right? So now you don't know where the problem is because we don't even know what you're really thinking. We only know the smile and not the pain behind that smile. At least if you have free speech, you can at least attempt to educate and reform. It's like American History X, where the guy goes to jail and then goes in, and because of the principal and the principal's hooking up with the black guy and like allowing him, he comes out reformed, even though he was the king racist. My thing is, and I'm not advocating hate speech, okay? But at the same time, when you say censorship, we had a conversation about porn before. That's like removing porn. Let's take it another level. You know, the reason we have a lot of music we have today is actually because of Hustler Magazine pressing the First Amendment issue. Right. And now parental advisory. The same songs, by the way, which in the 80s and 90s were the worst songs ever, that now they just play on the radio because they're not bad compared to what's going on now. But that same parental advisory, that label came from censorship.
And Teron, thank you for making that point, because it's not all about censoring hate speech. They're censoring violence, video games. We have the ratings, movie ratings.
I'm down with ratings. I just don't like the fact that people would censor you altogether and say you're not allowed, or make you feel like you're not allowed to do something or say something because it's not nice, which I understand, but it should be something that comes from within, not because you told me. Nobody's perfect
but us! Number 2, building on lying when they say that their like grandfather died and then he's still alive.
This is so specific.
Yo, what?
And
If
Pretty
you're not a
positive
bachelor,
person.
you need both sides, so.
Yo, but
It's
we
just a
don't need
stupid
we don't
analogy.
need your negativity.
That's just
Stephanie's been through a lot, and she stays
What
positive.
has she ever been through? What has she been
I mean, the
through?
whole car accident.
The car accident was her fault. It was her fault. She didn't know how to drive in America. She was driving on the wrong side of the road or something.
Yeah, because I wanted you to be like, Cedric can get that dick.
She can Cedric entertain this dick. I mean,